Right. Well, good morning. It's great to see those of you that are able to join us today. And I know almost everybody on this screen, but just in case, my name is Angie McDougall, and I'm one of the co-founders for Front Row Moms. And we really appreciate you taking time for yourself to invest that with us today. We know how busy everybody is with all the things that you got going on. So we truly appreciate you creating the space to be present with us so you can get some goods that are going to help you get even more out of the life that you are building and creating. So quick review for those of you that might be new to Front Row Moms. We're a community of ambitious women who are navigating both career and family life and choosing not to do it alone. Together, we focus on 6 pillars of growth: vibrant health, business evolution, emotional intelligence, financial empowerment, purposeful parenting, and thriving relationships. At the heart of all this is the community, and it's really about connection and supporting each other to live life fully in the front row of our own lives. And
Angie, in case the slides are not moving, just in case they should have been.
Oh, okay.
And I know they should have been because you made them. There we go. Now we're on the welcome.
Thanks. So, as I just said, and you need the visual there with me as my slides. There's our.
There we go.
Exactly. So, but before we dive in, before we get going, I really wanted to take a minute just to make sure everyone understands how we're going to go through today, what to expect throughout the spotlight, and how you can engage and how you'll be able to get even more out of your time today. So what we're going to do first is, we know that we've all arrived in different ways to this call. Some of you, it's in the morning. Some of you, it's in the afternoon. So we're going to take just a minute or so to do a few grounding breaths. And then we're going to begin with some reflection questions, really to get you thinking about the topic that we're going to get into today. We'll move into short breakouts where you're going to get a chance to connect and share with one another. And then we're going to hear from our guest speaker, Brenda Noon Schmidt. Brenda's going to share practical tools and inspiration to really help us all reclaim even more of our time and energy. After her presentation, we're going to come back together for a short discussion, possibly have another opportunity for another breakout, and then we will share a few updates of upcoming events with our community. So before we dive in, let's just take a minute, whether you happen to be in the sunshine or maybe you're inside or maybe you're at work. We appreciate you being here, and we just want to take a minute to pause, take a few deep breaths, be thankful for the time that we've given ourselves. So if we can just maybe lower our shoulders a little bit, maybe it's as we extend and we sit a little higher and we go in and take a deep breath into the count of 4. Pause at the top, hold that, and then release to the count of 4. Pause at the bottom for the count of 4. And then we'll do it one more time. Take a deep breath in to the count of 4. Pause at the top to a count of 4. And then release that to the count of 4. Great. Fantastic. I think that, well, speaking for myself, I don't take enough of those moments in the day to just get grounded and be present and pause and be prepared for where we're going to go. So, all right, well, let's get started. So I'm going to pass it over to my partner, Megan, and she's going to lead us through some questions to get us ready for our topic.
Awesome. So glad to see everybody today. And isn't it nice when we think about just taking a breath, which it's something we do every day, but when we actually intentional breath, breathing, stomach, wow, like it's just something so simple that we're like, oh, I don't have time to breathe. I don't have time to meditate, whatever it is. You don't even have to be anything labeled, just breathing. So that's just one simple thing that we can do each day. And thanks everybody for coming today. We are going to go into a little breakout. And so if you've never been with us before and understand what a breakout is, you're going to get to meet some people today. So we're going to be able to talk about some things and share things before Brenda starts talking today, just to get us into the mode of, like I meet somebody, I know somebody, but also in the headspace of where we're at today. So first off, thank you for taking the time to be here, because that's also one, thing that's hard to do. Put it on your calendar. And so, what we're going to do today is we're going to go and think about a question. And so if you have a pen and a paper handy, and if not, if you like to do Google Notes or something on your laptop, feel free to do that. And I just want you to take a moment. And I'm going to give you a few questions and you can jot these down. Think about a time when you felt really on top of things in your business or personal life. What was happening that made time feel like it was working for you instead of against you? It's very easy for us to go in the mode of all the time I don't have and all the things I can't do. But how fun is it to take that back and say, there were these times when I actually really was on top of things and these were working out for me. Just take a few seconds, jot something down that comes up. This isn't something where we're, doing a 10-minute journaling session. It's really just what's coming up for you right now. Maybe something 5 years ago. Maybe it was something 5 weeks ago. Maybe it was yesterday. Something that just sparked where you really felt on top of things. And what was happening during that time? And then we're going to do a little follow-up question to that. And feel free to keep writing as you're listening. We'll make sure these are posted in the chat so you can see them. What signals tell you when things are starting to get too much or tipping into overwhelm? Where you're just like, as we all are, ambitious moms, we're trying to do it all. Where is that tipping point? Maybe you've said yes to too many things. Maybe it's something, but at that point where ooh, I have done too much. This is where I need to take a break. I need to pause. I need to shift. What is that signal that comes to you for that? And remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. This is whatever comes up for you. There's absolutely no judgment. We all have different ways of coping with things. Just what's coming up for you. And then one last fun question. What would you do for yourself with an extra 10 plus hours a week? That key here is for yourself. What would you do for yourself? There's a lot of times, and me and Angie were just talking about this the other day, like, man, we were with our friends a lot or people that we're just talking to in the community. And man, I wish I had more time. I wish I had 10 extra hours a week. Awesome. What would you do with that? And isn't that kind of neat to dream, to think about it? But the key is it's for yourself. It's very easy. Oh, well, I just do this for my kids, or I do this. What is it for yourself? Take that moment to just take that time for you. So I'll give you about another 30 seconds. Again, no right or wrong answer here. All right. I'm just going to give you a few instructions for the breakout room, and you can feel free to add on or change things up as you get in there. Maybe it feels different once you start talking to somebody, but we're going to put you each in a breakout room. There's going to be 2 to 3 people in each room, and you'll be in the room for a max of 10 minutes. And we'll keep you on track with the timer. So when you get into your room, you can do an intro, who you are, where you're from, how many kids and ages. Do that in under a minute. Everybody gets a chance to kind of say where they're from, where they're coming into today. And then each person's going to have about 2 minutes to share. And in that 2 minutes, this is where you're just going to answer your questions. So you're going to say, hey, here's what came up for me. These are my questions. This isn't a TED Talk. This isn't, a really long dialogue. We want to make sure everybody gets time, but feel free to share what came up for you. And then what's going to happen is that other person, or if there's 2 people, you're each going to reflect back what you heard from that first person. So maybe it's something that inspired you. Maybe it's something that you loved about what they shared. Take that time for each person to reflect back to that first person. After that reflection gets shared back, we move to the next person. So each person is definitely going to have at least 2 minutes to share. And then every other person is going to be able to do a share out of what they loved about that. And we'll try to keep you on track with timers. So don't worry about that, but just make sure everybody gets a chance.
All right. Ready?
And do you have any questions before we go in? All right.
Good, here we go.
See you guys back in a little bit.
Okay, you should go.
I will be recording again.
And then you'll take over this part here, right? To get them to share. Okay, great. And then I'll introduce Brenda.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, sorry,
nice.
Pod 2. I just want to say sorry, Pod 2. That was a total mistake that I just stuck Phoebe and Monica and Brenda all on the same pod. I'm so sorry.
Just in case you guys want extra conversation.
Okay, I'll be better next time. I promise. Okay. Have Megan.
Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. Who all had something that they really, really loved, that they heard, that they want to share, whether it's something that came up for you in the room, maybe something that came up from somebody else that you're like, wow, I want to share this, knowing that they're okay with you sharing it with the group. We'll love to hear from 2 or 3 of you. What came up for you during that breakout?
I'd love to know what people said they would do with their time.
Oh, yeah.
Time. Anybody want to share one of those with the Chiska? I know you got something there. She's like, oh, I know what I would do. Great time.
I mean, if I had time, I would be in Colorado and I would be hiking somewhere, like I see all of your guys' posts and it drives me crazy. I'm in New Jersey where it's flat and it's painful. But yeah, I'd be hiking.
Awesome.
I would be hiking.
Love it. I love it. Anyone else? Anything come up for you?
I'd actually love to hear what Shayla had to say because she was about to share and then got cut off. So I would love to
I
hear
was like
what
looking down at my notes and I'm like, oh, we're back here. I was starting to say just like pause more, like sit outside, read. I've wanted to work on some photo albums from trips, which when you're on your computer all day, you're like, I don't know if I really want to do that. Just go for more walks, not be in a rush. I put hikes outside, those kinds of things. So just like slowing down, I think, just in general to elongate some of the things that I already do, but being more present in it.
Awesome.
Love that. I hear a theme: hiking, outside, nature. I love that.
Awesome.
I'm there with you. We have time for one more share. Anybody else want to share?
An extra long shower.
I think I noticed Mackenzie said you have 3 under 3. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. My baby, he's 3 months. He's sleeping right now. So I got the 2 right here staying entertained. So
an extra long shower. I love it. I love it. Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that.
Anybody else who wants to just share them in the chat, I think
Yep.
that would be fun.
I'd love to see that.
And it also kind of like gives us all ideas of other things. We're like, oh yeah, I want to do that too.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Feel free to share. You can share in the chat throughout anything that comes up. All right, now we're going to go to Andy, who's going to intro Brenda for today.
All right. All right. Well, just before I give you introduction on Brenda, for those of you that haven't had the fortunate opportunity to get to know her yet, I wanted to let you know that we would love for you to engage in the chat, as I'm sure you'll be taking notes, but we'd love for you to jot down whether there's, we call them sometimes on some of the meetings I'm on, nuggets or bombs or, light bulb moments, right? If there's something that she says that you're like, oh, that is a light bulb moment, that's a nugget, that's something I want to take away, drop something in the chat. If you have questions as we go through too, there may be a spot to do that, but just drop it in a chat because that actually informs some of the discussion that Brenda may be able to weave back in when we get near the end. So feel free to really use that forum there as we go through her presentation. So Brenda Noon Schmidt helps families tenfold their lives with time hacking strategies and household outsourcing methods. Helping families find hero house managers is one of her favorite vehicles to unlock abundance for the families that she works with. She lives in Tucson, Arizona with her fellow entrepreneur hubby, Mike, and their 3 kids, and they love to adventure. Brenda is the host of the Tenfold Your Life podcast and is also writing a book. She is a member of our Front Row Moms community. And I know that those of you that have had time with her, like I have, there's no short of a wisdom in the brain of Brenda, and there's no shortage of energy. So I am so excited for her to share with you today. So I'll pass it over. I love the pom-pom.
Yay. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now, I do have, for everybody who likes visuals, I created a lot of visuals for you. If you get overwhelmed by the visuals, don't even look at them. Just listen to me. I will be doing a quick fire through these visuals. So if there's one that pops up on the screen that you are like, hold on, I want to see every word that's on there, just take a picture of it with your phone or screenshot on your computer. And I will also give a copy of my entire slide deck to Angie and Megan so they can forward it to the community as well afterwards. But yeah, if there's anything that like, as we're going, you're like, oh, I want to like capture that, go for it. And because I'm going to be moving through them quickly. Because I want to make sure that there's time to answer you guys' questions at the end. So let me bring it up here. All right, everybody see this okay? Awesome. So today I'm going to be talking about the time freedom formula. I think what everybody wants in life, probably even more than money, is freedom and time, because that's like something we really can't get back. And so if we can figure out a way to maximize what we are already in flow with and use it best and feel those moments of like hiking in nature and taking long showers and like sitting and just staring at clouds and all those kind of pauses, that really makes us our truest version of ourselves. That's what I want to give you. I want to give you the formula for how to get there. So I want to give you some kind of cool ways to look at things, and then some actionable steps for all this too, so you can start implementing right away. So first of all, hi, I'm Brenda. I do have a podcast. I am writing a book. I am an entrepreneur. I'm also an entrepreneur wife. My husband has 3 different companies of his own. We've been an entrepreneur family for over 20 years. And we just love collecting hobbies on top of that. So everything that I do for time hacking and outsourcing is just so that I can be a giant kid myself and go adventure more with my own kids. So that's really the purpose of everything that I do. So I want to help other families do the same thing. So the problem that we face as families is that our plates get too full. We say yes to too many things. There's things that we can't even say no to. And this is invisible work that continues to drain us. And sometimes we don't even realize just how much it's draining us until we reach that burnout phase where we're just like, I am done. And so right now in our breakout rooms, we were just talking about what those little signals are. For a lot of us women, those can be physical things that we experience. Our bodies will start to tell us when we don't listen to our hearts enough. And so this whole like, I can do it all, I can do it all, and you just keep adding more things to your plate leads to burnout. And so I'm going to give you the formula to help with that. So the 2 sections that we're going to cover today is going to be strong schedule structure and how to make your schedule be proactive instead of reactive. I know in my own breakout room, we were just talking about how when things feel good, it's whenever you feel like you're synced up, you're communicating, everybody knows what to expect, the kids know what to expect, everything's predictable. If there are changes, it's easily communicated, things are forward looking and you know what's coming ahead. And so that is a proactive calendar. And so what I like to do is help people design a proactive calendar instead of a reactive calendar where we feel like we're always just chasing things. And then the second part of my presentation is going to be to teach you how to delegate so that you can actually buy some of your time back and get the support that you need that actually everybody really deserves. So strong schedule structure. You'll see here I have a picture of a cathedral, and that's because I like to use the metaphor of a cathedral in planning your schedule structure of your calendar. So instead of reactive living, where you're, especially women, reacting to everybody else's needs before yourself, we instead want to have true freedom, where we are designing based on our rhythm, based on our own energy, having intentional time blocks to go do things for ourselves, but also time with our friends, time for our business, time for our spouse, our kids, and controlling our schedule. So the cathedral of life, as I call it, is built on 4 main sections of what builds our schedule. A well-lived schedule is like a cathedral in that it has pillars. Pillars are where you have these big blocks of time that are your flow state focused time blocks. This is something that most people are missing. And so a lot of people will have a schedule, but it's built by all these little tiny pieces floating around instead of big time blocks to actually go into focus mode. What these are time blocks where you're only working with yourself. You're not answering emails. You're not talking to anybody else. You're not getting on meetings. This is where you're only working within. This is where you go into creative mode, building mode. So depending on what your job is, it might be requiring like a big project that you need to spend a lot of time on. And if we just keep giving little pockets of time to it, it stretches out over this big expansive thing and it's hanging over our head. Whereas if we just devoted 1 day a week to pillars, these focused time blocks, you could get so much done in less overall time of your year. So like a year goal might be able to be condensed into 6 pillars. The next part of the cathedral of life, the schedule structure, is the arches. These are the little bricks that connect all the other tasks. And so these are the smaller tasks. These are the meetings. This is like today, being on this call and coming to learn. So this would be an arch. This would be connecting. You get an idea here, you implement over here. And so these are the pieces of your schedule where you're meeting with people. This is where you answer emails. This is where you're firing off communication. So these are externally focused time blocks in your schedule. The next part I'm going to share is called the mortar. This is what I call the $1 million mortar, because this is seriously where all the abundance comes from, whether it's wealth in your career or in your business, or whether it's the abundance that you feel in your schedule. And this is where you close loops and have smooth transitions. This is intentional buffer in transition times, and this is built into your calendar. So this is not like the 5 minutes that you end up with because a call ended that you're like, sweet, I got 5 minutes now. I'm going to go to the bathroom really, really fast and like scarf something down. No, it's intentional time. So putting in a 30-minute block after a 1-hour meeting so that you can close the loops that just got opened on that call. And then the fourth part, which is what a lot of you guys were just talking about that you would do if you had 10 extra hours, is windows. These are your play windows. This is where you let the light and the joy and the beauty in. And they're windows because it's connecting to nature. A lot of you said that you would spend those free hours with nature. That's exactly your schedule structure. Cannot be a building with no windows, or it's going to be a really dark, drab place that you're not going to want to hang out in anymore. So you need to have that light, that nature that's integrated into your schedule. So first, let's go deep into the pillar time block. I already kind of explained a little bit about this, but this is deep, uninterrupted work. This is your creation, your strategy, your writing, your building. You need to write copy. You need to write emails. Anything that you need to like get the muse to surface to be able to use that creative genius. This is what you're going to do during that flow state focus time. Ideally, in your schedule, if you could eventually shift your schedule to have one of these days every week, and on the day that your energy is your absolute best for creation, that would be the most ideal schedule. Until then, if you can find a spot to put in a minimum 3-hour block where you turn on your do not disturb, you only work on your own, that would be the way to like ease into it. And so minimum 3 hours, ideally 5 hours. If you get a whole day of no meetings, you're going to be able to get so much more done. You're going to feel a lot more flow state, which then like makes everything a lot easier. These are protected time blocks. So they go on the calendar and nobody schedules on top of them, including you. So you have to respect your pillar time blocks. And then now for each of these time blocks of your schedule, I have a energy mascot, because there's different energy that you give to each of these time blocks. And so when you're creating these time blocks on your calendar, you can create them knowing yourself and knowing on Mondays, I always feel this way, so I'm going to make it like this. Or on Fridays, I always feel this way, so I'm going to make it like this. Or mornings, I feel this way, so I'm going to do this. Afternoons, I feel this way. So you're going to base your schedule, your proactive schedule, off of your energy. And so each of these time blocks has a different energy mascot, and you can think of this for yourself when that time is for you. And so pillar energy, this is when you're in Phoenix mode. Phoenix burns intense and burns bright, and then it burns to ashes. And so if you think about these flow state times, you might be in a 3-hour block where you just create all this cool stuff. And then by the end of it, you're like, that was amazing. I'm going to do that tomorrow. No. The rule about Phoenix time energy is that you cannot do it again back to back the following day. You need time to recover. So we think like, wow, I got so much done, I'm going to do that again tomorrow. No, the next day needs to be a hummingbird day, which I'm going to get into. So to activate your Phoenix energy, this is where to get into flow state takes a little bit more intentionality to get into that energy than the other time blocks. But this is where if you have a formula that you follow, which I have, I keep this on my list, on my desk. I have a list to tell myself all the things that I do when I'm about to go into a pillar time block to get myself into flow state, to like snap right into it and get where you're not like, what am I working on? I don't know, but get right to it. And so to activate your Phoenix energy, you can take a picture of this if you want to capture all of those, but it's like putting your phone and your computer on do not disturb. I like to listen to binaural beats with my noise canceling headphones. I like Brain FM specifically because they have different modes depending on what brain state you want to be in. And the thing about flow state that a lot of people don't understand is your brain waves are actually different in flow state than they are in any other part of the day. And so if you're not getting flow state, you're not giving your brain a chance to go into these brain waves. I don't remember if it's like alpha, beta, theta, whatever ones they are, but it's kind of like meditation, the same thing, right? There's like certain ones for meditation, certain ones for sleeping, certain ones for active work. And so when you're in flow state, you're in a certain brainwave. It's proven that you actually live longer the more times you spend in this. So it's so much better for your health to have days like this. And it's so good for your productivity too. And so create visual barriers. Like if you're working in a place that people have access to, they can like pop right in your office, get a little screen and put it around you. And that means, okay, I'm in my flow state block. Wearing those noise canceling headphones sometimes will signal to everybody else around you, like, I cannot talk to you right now. I'm tuning you out. Something I love to do is like for today, right? Like I'm not in my mom clothes. I'm in my I'm in energetic mode clothes, right? Like I put on my fun, colorful stuff. I put on earrings. I actually put on makeup. I do my hair, all these kind of things. This like changes our energy. So it's not just about like caring what we look like, but it really truly changes your energy whenever you do those things. Like I have different shoes that I will wear. Even if I have the same outfit all day when I pick up my kids or do my calls, I will change my shoes because that changes my energy. So it's like mom mode shoes to like business Brenda mode shoes. And so that's like to activate this energy, you have to have these certain rituals and you'll know best what those are. So then that next time block that I already mentioned is your arch. And this is made out of a bunch of smaller bricks. These are those smaller little meetings, little connections. These are the things that if you only had focus days all the time, you would be like some brilliant genius holed away in a lab, never actually sharing your goodness with the world. And so you must also have your arches because this is externally focused. This is your connections with your team, connections with clients, connections with, potential collaborators that you're going to work with. And all of those meetings that you have with people or emails or communications, they're actually giving you feedback that then is going to give you more information that you need so that when you go into creative mode on those flow state days, you're going to actually have a better picture of what is needed from you based off of all the feedback that you've gotten in these little arch time blocks. The energy mascot for the arches is a hummingbird. So they're flitting from flower to flower. And so when you're in hummingbird energy, which is like my default mode actually, so I have to force myself to go into Phoenix energy and have all my hacks to get there. But my default mode is hummingbird energy. And so the way to activate this is maybe you listen to your motivating podcast or audiobooks. Maybe you have like the dance music like we did at our event, everyone gets into dance mode and it gets our connections flowing. Like we automatically start connecting over the sound and the frequency. So maybe you put on your pump up music. Maybe you have your coffee and your special drinks that you like, having snacks. Like I keep snacks in my desk. I can eat my dark chocolate in between my calls. And again, wearing clothes, jewelry, hair, makeup, whatever, that also gets you in that heightened state. If you're going to be doing a bunch of networking or meetings with team members, you want to wear the things that you would wear to a conference or to an event if you were going out and about. And then our time block of the mortar, the $1 million mortar, like I said. So this is your built-in buffer and transition time. And I cannot emphasize enough how much this is missed and how valuable it is. Because without this, all the connections you're making in the arches, you're going to have all these bricks that they're not going to be able to stay in place and they're going to start crumbling without the implementation and follow through that you need to put in place with the mortar. And so if you have a team that you can delegate to, this is the ideal time that if you have your buffer time built in right after a meeting, that's when you get on your phone and you fire off real quick, like an audio message to people on your team, what things need to happen to move a needle forward. If you don't have team members that you delegate to, this is where you have some other system in place to capture ideas and things that need to be done for follow-ups. Depending on the time of your transition buffer time mortar, you can actually create some content. If you own your own business, this is when I create all my reels. So you guys see me post a lot on social media and I do like the talking to the camera, type of reels when I get off of a call or a podcast. So if I'm interviewed on a podcast and they ask me like 3 really amazing questions that I'm like, yeah, those would be amazing to put into content. As soon as I get off that podcast, I already have a 30-minute buffer and I go outside and I just record myself answering those questions all over again. I already answered them on the podcast, but now I answer them again and I turn those into content. So that's one of my favorite things to do with my buffer time. And so I build that in after every networking call, every podcast appearance. And I actually, like in my Go High level, I have it set where it automatically defaults. So if somebody gets on my calendar, it'll automatically, the robots will figure it out for me to just like throw 30 minutes after that. And so this is where you can also do a lot of communication with your team. This is also like with your spouse, right? Like you guys are all talking about how good it feels when everybody's synced up. Well, if you just got off of something that tells you that the schedule is now going to be this other thing and your family has to accommodate that, firing off a quick message over to your spouse, your family, wherever, or like putting it on your Google shared calendar, that's where you can capture that to make sure it's communicated to everybody and not this like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I'm going to have to start attending these things at this other hour. Sorry. So this is like quick delegating, idea capturing, and just smooth transitions, like giving some space for you to go outside and just walk around and process your thoughts before you move on to the next thing. And the energy mascot for the mortar is a bee, because bees, while busy and they're moving around also, and they're doing lots of different things, they are consistent builders. Their hives have been built little by little by little by little by little, and they're taking little bits of pollen and turning it into this masterpiece. And so that's what the mortar is all about, because it's taking these tiny little tasks and it's just getting them done little by little. And that is like tortoise and hare mode, right? Where like it's just moving it further than you ever thought possible by doing the sprints. So block 30-minute buffers after your calendar. If you can't do those to start with, 15 minutes is still going to help you out a lot. I will tell you, do not use your buffer time as like oh, this meeting can run over because I have a 15-minute buffer. Do not do that. You have to stay strict with your calendar and make sure you end at the end time. That buffer is for you. That's like we just talked about in the breakout rooms. That's your time that you get to do something that like refreshes you, gets your energy back up. Maybe you go eat a snack, you close a loop, whatever that is. So don't give it away to whatever the things are on the calendar that are already in a different bucket. And then the window, play window. This is the one that's like people just say, that's it. We're just going to have a cathedral with no windows. That's just how life is going to be. We're just going to live in caves. And so there's no windows. There's no connection to outdoors, water, light. All of this gives us energy. As humans, we need earth elements to be energized, to feel fulfilled. Not only that, the play window time block is exactly what is going to refill your feminine energy. So if you are feeling like low sex drive, like this like masculine energy force all the time, and you and your spouse are butting heads, then you have to get the play windows back in. And these are things that I say, if it's not on the calendar, it won't happen. So if you want to go for a hike on a Sunday morning, put it on the calendar. Hike. You can even call it a meeting. If you think that people on the calendar are going to schedule over it, you can call it like meeting with whatever, Mr. Mountain or something. And so that way it actually happens. Or if you're going to go explore a new hobby, you want to learn, like take dance classes or something like that. Schedule the dance classes, pay for the dance classes, put it on your calendar, and then you're accountable to it. And it's going to have to happen. And then you'll be so glad that you did that. So this is pure receiving. And when you can receive in your own schedule, everything else gets easier. We are meant to receive and not just give so much. So the energy mascot of the play window time block is an otter. And how does an otter spend the majority of their time? They're like on their back, belly up, just floating, just coasting. So that gives you a clue. Otter activities are often things that you are leaning back. You're in play mode. You're not like drive forward mode, but you're actually leaning back. Like you're sitting on a lounge chair by the pool. You're floating around your pool. You're floating down a river. You're like sitting on a paddleboard, leaning back and like looking at the sky. So this is an indication of the energy that you want to be in for these things. And absolutely connection with nature is going to be the best time, just the best way to spend this time. If you live in a place that you don't really have access to nature all the time, then go to a museum that has amazing, beautiful pictures of nature, or go to a concert that like gets you into that flow state, or not flow state, but the play and fluid kind of energy force. So otter time is totally for receiving joy. It is not for producing. It's not like I'm going to sit by the pool while also like filling out an entire spreadsheet that I have to send off to somebody. It's no, it's like set that down and go just get a magazine and receive somebody else's words that they wrote. And so why the cathedral structure works is because without our pillars, we have no foundation for that deep work. We just have a bunch of bricks and it's just turning into a big pile of bricks everywhere. If we don't have those arches and we only have the pillars, then it's like, Einstein, Howard Hughes, they just go in this dark room and never come out and never talk to anybody. And it's like their brilliance is kind of not spreading to the world like it could. So you got to have the arches for the connection to other people. If you don't have the mortar, that's where you just have so many open loops and you feel overwhelmed. The majority of people who feel burnout, it's because they just have way too many open loops and they need to close loops. So whether it's you closing it or delegating to somebody else who can, but you have to have the mortar. And then the windows. Without windows, you would have no light, no joy, no renewal. You would be in a dark cave. It would be a really sad place to be. So don't build your schedule with no windows. So that was the first part, which is the time hacking part of it, of this schedule. If you guys have any questions about that, throw them in the chat and we'll hit them up at the end. And we can also kind of like brainstorm some ways that you guys can implement some of those things. So the next part, this is like my favorite thing, you guys, is delegating. And so this is a huge, huge vehicle. Like as soon as you find people to delegate to, then it really does free up the time so that then you can go and hack your schedule so that it actually looks the way you want. And so if you don't have time for the buffer time yet, then it's like, okay, what could you take off your schedule and give to somebody else so that you can build buffer time in? You can put those windows in. And so I'm gonna tell you why it's essential and affordable. Everyone thinks it's so much more expensive than it is. And the biggest myths and objections that people have around it and how to find and hire your hero house manager. That's my favorite outsourcing vehicle as a house manager. So the first objection a lot of people have, of course, is I can't afford this. Like it's too expensive. And so what I tell everybody is, of course, it's an investment, not an expense. And let's think about what it's already costing you, just like idea wise. So it's like, is this costing your mental health? Is this costing you marriage troubles, kid behavior problems, or even actual money that it's costing you in expensive easy button fixes? Like if you're door dashing all the time instead of just hiring somebody to cook for you, it's almost always cheaper to hire someone to cook for you and they can make healthier meals than all the DoorDash crap. And so it's a smart investment because every load off your plate is hours freed that you can then do high value work. If you're working for another company, this is where then you become a more profitable employee to them, that you raise the ranks. If you have your own company, then you already know this is like, I can generate more dollars as soon as I have more time. And so would you pay somebody $20 so that you can go and create $200 per hour? The answer is always yes. And so if it's a task that's below your line of demarcation of what your dollar per hour value is, then you absolutely should be handing some of these things off. And it's often cheaper to hire somebody in your home, especially like a house manager is usually cheaper than a VA, which people like don't even understand. And I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, so it's like a VA, nowadays it's like you have to usually buy out 40 hours, maybe 30 hours. Like you can't just have them for 5 hours anymore unless you're sharing them with other people. So the amount of money that you're already spending on a VA, you could get a house manager for less and actually free up more time than you might be even freeing up with your VA, because maybe your VA is still waiting on you to give them the stuff that they need and you can't do it because you're over here doing your laundry. So sometimes it's actually a better investment to hire a house manager first, or if you already have a team, other people that are below you, they might not be able to get enough of the information out of you, or they might be not working to their fullest potential because your bandwidth doesn't allow for you to actually even communicate with them. So why you deserve it is without it, you're going to have burnout, resentment, strained marriage, overwhelmed parenting. And with it, you end up having more bandwidth for your career, better marriage connection, present parenting, joyful and fulfillment. So it's not about the worthiness of whether you deserve this or not. It is absolutely something that is essential and to keep you sustainable. And so if you are not having the support in your home, it's not, or if you feel like you're overwhelmed at home, it's not that you're failing. It's just that you don't have enough support. And I have talked to so many families where they've paid a lot of money for marriage counseling, therapy for their kids, when what they really need is just somebody to come in and help them out. So a house manager is absolutely way, way, way cheaper than marriage counseling. And it's definitely way cheaper than your kids' therapy. So if you start there and it relieves some of the stress that might be causing the marriage issues and the behavior issues, then it could be a way better investment. And so the second objection people have is, and also I'll go into like the actual costs of things in a little bit. Objection number 2 is that people feel like I should be able to do this myself. And I want to tell you, like, you were never meant to do it alone. There used to be Village of Support. My ancestors settled in Arizona in the 1800s, and there was like a whole town of people. And like, this guy made saddles, and this guy was the blacksmith. And it was seriously like this town where everybody had specific roles, and then they all shared in the work. We don't have that necessarily anymore. What we have is like, I'm in charge of the saddles and the blacksmith and the this and the that. And then you in your house are also in charge of your saddles, your blacksmith, your everything. And everybody is in these kind of little islands. And so what we used to have is multi-generational living with built-in help. We used to have grandparents, cousins, nieces, nephews. And what the trade was back then is they would live with us. So we were trading lodging for the work, the hands-on deck support. We used to have our neighbors and our churches and our coworkers pitching in more. They could step in and watch our kids, pick them up from school, do shared errands and carpooling. We can go next door, ask for a cup of sugar. Now we get it from Instacart. And so there used to also be a lot of activities where kids would just go and like play in the park near their house with a bunch of other kids. They go next door, they go to the neighbors, they float over to the other kid's house. Now we have a lot more structured activities that require a parent to actually chauffeur them and stay on site and accompany them and then go to their competitions. And so they're still getting their exercise, but it's not this free play that the kids get to be like free of being told what to do. But also the parents have this now on their schedule that they have to manage the kids' play instead of the kids just doing it on their own. So we no longer have these people that are living right nearby. Our family isn't nearby necessarily, or if they are, maybe they're still working, or maybe they have their own responsibilities and they can't be helping us. So we don't have that extended family for the hands-on support. We now, amazingly, we're all talking to little box heads. We're like the Jetsons right now. Like, I'm going to talk to you guys in Canada. We're in different countries right now. And so we can talk to people all over the place and have these extended networks, but you guys cannot drop a casserole off at my house if I'm sick. You can't go pick up my kid for me if this meeting runs over, So we have this connection to all these other people, but we used to have coworkers that would kind of do some of these hands-on deck support kind of things, and we no longer have that. So if we no longer have it over here, we need to find it in a different way. And so again, like going back to this feminine energy, if you don't spend some of your life in your feminine energy, you will not be a happy woman. It'll affect your hormones. It'll affect your health. It'll affect all your relationships. And so by receiving and being nurtured by other people, then we are able to give more. And so with support, we can return to the balance and joy and creativity that we inherently have. And without that, we just stay in our masculine energy. We're just doing all the time. And that is the modern life kind of forces us into that. So we have to restructure our lives to make sure that we're getting the balance that we deserve. So I talk a lot about laundry basket graveyards in my content. This is like, you guys know this is like whenever you put your clothes in the wash and then you most of the time remember to switch them over to the dryer, but then they go in a laundry basket and it just waits until something else is going to happen with it. And this is like everything. People know this so well. So, and usually these baskets sit in your master bedroom, which is supposed to be a place for rest and renewal and intimacy. But instead, there's laundry basket graveyard all over your bedroom telling you you're behind, you can't keep up, you're a failure. And no matter what big wins you have in your business, in your career, in your personal life, you're like, I crushed it at the gym today. I did amazing on this call in my business. And you come home and you have all this laundry staring at you like, you're a failure. You still can't put me away. And it erases all the wins of your day. So get rid of the laundry basket graveyard. When you have support and no more laundry basket graveyards, your life changes dramatically. So I'm giving you guys permission to thrive. Support is not indulgent. It is essential. And it's not a luxury for someday. It's something that you have to implement to get to more wealth. And hiring help at home is not a weakness. This is wisdom. You deserve to thrive. And so I want you guys, every time you're in these moments, you're like, I don't know if I don't know if I can, just repeat to yourself, I am safe to receive. I am safe to receive. We can like get into fight or flight mode sometimes when somebody wants to help us. And we're like, no, I got this. I'm fine. It's like, I am safe to receive. I want you to repeat that to yourself every day, all day, as often as possible. Another objection people have is, what will people think of me? I am going to let you guys know, my husband, he had this whole coup at his original business where half of his team ended up creating a competing company under his roof and stealing his own clients and underbidding and then serving them while he's paying them on the hour. And so when he found out about this, he hired half of his company in one fell swoop. He had all these projects to fulfill and all of a sudden half of a company to fulfill it. And on top of that, he wasn't really sure if the people who remained were actually loyal either, and if they were going to have to go. So he had to act fast. This was like 25 years ago. So he hired offshore help to fulfill on those things. Best decision ever. This was back when it was icky and taboo to hire offshore help. Nowadays, everybody has VAs. Like, it's like a no-brainer now that everybody has help from people from all these other countries. Like, they can work part-time, they can work full-time. You know, they're students, they're young people, they're old people, all these different people. We all know now that hiring offshore help, it blesses them, it blesses their country, it blesses us. Like, the global economy is so different now than it was 25 years ago because of all these pioneers that started hiring people in all these other countries. And so, yeah, like maybe $6 per hour feels like terrible. Like, what? You only pay somebody $6 an hour? $6 goes a really long way in their country. That might be more than the doctors make in their country. And so it really does bless them and their families. They're able to have generational wealth now that they might not have had otherwise. And so we now know this. Nobody even blinks an eye about VAs anymore, about hiring offshore help. This is now where we're at with house managers. So people talk about house managers, and there's some people that are like, oh my gosh, yeah, they're amazing. It's life-changing. And there's other people that are like, how could you? Why can't you do it yourself? They're like the haters. This is the same thing back whenever the VAs, it used to be icky and taboo, and people used to be like, how could you hire people from other countries? There's people right here that need the help and need the work. It's like, we now know it works out really well for everybody. This is going to be the norm 20 years from now, maybe even shorter, because we're in the information age. House managers are going to be the norm. All houses are going to have them. Like our kids, when they have their own families, everybody's going to have some kind of household support. It's not going to look like it looks right now. And so that's the reality of where we're going. And so if you can start getting in on the help right now, instead of getting to the point where you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? So just let go of that idea of like, what will people think? You're a pioneer. Like, go be your pioneer self and be a trendsetter, and like, let everybody else have permission to do it also. A lot of people have this concern that their kids won't learn the right skills that they need to be competent adults if they have somebody always doing it for them. But here's the thing, like, you guys know this, like, your kids go to school and like they learn more there than they learn from you. Like, they pick up way more stuff from everybody else. The same thing's going to happen whenever you bring people into your home to help you. Those people are also going to be teaching them. So like, my personal chef is a way better cook than I am. So when she teaches them knife chopping skills, that's way better than what I could do for them. When she's teaching them how to properly store things so it doesn't explode in the fridge if you put it in there too hot, stuff like that. I'm like, I didn't even know this. I'm also learning. So they can learn from the people that you bring in. It's not that the person's doing it for them and they're never going to learn. It's the opposite. They actually learn better. My house manager, whenever she is here on a day that my kids are not in school, my favorite thing my 10-year-old says is like, can we organize my closet? He never wants to organize the closet with me, but he loves organizing his closet with my house manager because it's a fun thing that they do together. And she teaches him, like, here's how you can categorize it. Here's how we label it. Oh, do you want to get rid of this? Do you want to keep it? Like, she teaches him that whole process, and he's eager to learn it from her. And so we think as parents, we're the only people to teach our kids, but we are not. They learn so much better a lot of times from other people. So when you bring people in to support you, that's something you can say is like, hey, while you're doing my kids' laundry, include them, show them how to put it away. I want you to actually do it alongside them and with them if they're home. If they're not, that's fine. Just get it done. I don't want to have to look at it anymore, the graveyard. And the same with the cooking. So our chef comes while the kids are at school, but she actually is here for a 1-hour overlap whenever the kids get home from school. And that's the part where she's kind of teaching them the final steps. She's explaining things to them. And so it's like a teaching hour for 1 hour. Rest of the time she's cranking out the food and she's like in her zone. And so they can learn great life skills from house managers. Not only that, they're going to not only learn life skills, but they're going to learn the value of delegating and not become the martyrs that we are. And so that they can actually learn that it's okay to ask for help. That's really what we want them to learn. Another objection people have is that it's a luxury that you add on later. It's like, well, once I make enough money, then I'm going to get this house manager. But the thing is if you just add on like 5 hours a week, you figure out like, okay, what am I already paying from Hulu and Netflix and YouTube Premium and all these subscriptions? Okay, like if I canceled all those and it was $100 a week and I paid somebody $100 a week to come and like do all my laundry and chop some onions and potatoes, like how much time would that save me? You hire somebody for 5 hours, you're going to feel like you got 15 back. You hire somebody for 20 hours, you're going to feel like you got 40 hours back. Like the math doesn't math. It really feels like such a bigger amount of time that you get back whenever you hire somebody for just a few hours. And so those hours are where you end up making the money back to pay for them and then some. Or you can look at your budget and be like, actually, here's some things that I'm like ignoring that I've been needing to cancel for a while, and I'm going to put that over here into this budget. Maybe you have a cleaning lady that comes every week, move her to every other week, and then have a house manager instead. or move the cleaning lady to once a month and have a house manager instead. Maybe you have somebody that's picking up dog poop on a weekly basis. Have your house manager absorb that task so then you can put that into that budget instead. And like I was saying, the history of household help, it was never one person's job to like make the saddles and make the horseshoes and all these things. So this was always something that people work together to do all these roles. The modern adaptation now is that instead of us trading lodging for the work with these extended family members that live with us, we now instead trade a different value. We trade our money, and then they take that money and they buy their own lodging. So there's like one step removed, but we're still trading value for work. And what happens is these people who start off as quote unquote strangers end up becoming our family members. We love hiring college kids as our house managers. And when they graduate and they move away and they go get real jobs, which we use our network to help them find, now my kids have this network of like 4 people that live around the United States that in any minute when they're adults, like this person would help them out. This person would be like, yeah, come live with me. I'll get you on your feet, right? These are extended family members that we've created now. So now that you guys have all been like, okay, yeah, you know what? I get it. This sounds amazing. I think I need a house manager. Let me give you the nuts and bolts on how to go about even hiring. And how are we on time?
We are about, you got about 6 minutes, 7
Okay,
minutes?
perfect. All right. Because then this will lead right into questions. You guys can ask more questions.
Perfect.
And so I'm going to briefly kind of touch on this. This is stuff that I can go really deep into. This is what I nerd out on, is like hiring, interviews, onboarding. I love playing team Tetris, as I call it. I love like evaluating people's strengths and being able to figure out where they fit best. And so this is my framework for hiring. And this is what I teach for my clients that I take through my programs. And the steps are household foundation. So before you hire anybody in your business or in your home, you have to know who you are as a family. What do you stand for? What are your goals? And so before you ever even post an ad saying, I need somebody to do laundry and cooking and running errands and blah, 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 that person needs to be a certain type of a person that's going to complement the type of person you and your family are. That's the most important thing. And the same for a team member. If you're hiring somebody beneath you, you want to get along with them. You want to enjoy hanging out with them. And so it doesn't matter what they can do for you. It matters who they are. So I tell people it's like in the original Mary Poppins, when it was like the ad that the Banks children wrote versus the ad that Mr. Banks wrote. So Mr. Banks is like, we need a nanny to like do this and this and this and this. And the Banks children were like, she must be smart and very witty, blah, 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 like must not have warts and all these things. So they're describing the type of person she is instead of what she would do for them. And Mr. Banks is describing all the tasks that she needs to do. Well, who actually responds to the ad and who gets the ad and which person comes? That's Mary Poppins, because she's the type of person. So the Banks children cast this vision for the type of person that they wanted. That's who they got. She was a really good fit for them. So if you want to hire a Mary Poppins in your house, you have to write ads like the Banks children. And if you want to write ads like the Banks children, not like Mr. Banks, you have to have a really good idea of what that is that you even want, which comes from who you are and what your family values are, what your family goals are. So if you're a family that you're like, you know what, we want to travel the world. In the next 5 years, we want to just be like traveling, like just gypsies all over the place. If that's your mode, then you want to attract somebody who understands why that's important to you. So maybe they don't travel themselves, but they love that you do that and they want to support you back at home so that you can do more of that. You don't want somebody judging you, being like, why do you even travel all the time? Like, why am I even taking care of your house if you're not even going to be home? You don't want somebody that judges you for that. And so the same, like fitness and sports are really important to you and your family. You don't want the person that's coming in who like is the opposite of a biohacker. Like they're just like making the most unhealthy choices. They're on 8,000 pills. They like always have an ailment. Like every week they're calling in because they're sick of, they have some problem. These are all things that we've experienced in our house. We've had the person that judged us for our travel. We've had the person that was like the opposite of the biohacker. And then I realized, I think I need to put in my ad that we are sober biohackers so that it weeds out those kind of people. And so putting that kind of stuff, like knowing what those values are and then putting that out there, like almost like making a sales page for your family to advertise that is then how you're going to be posting those ads. So those household foundations, evaluation and inventory, that's where you're actually going and figuring out like what drains me the most in my house. Is it the laundry basket graveyard? I will say the people who say that they like doing laundry, it's because they've tricked themselves into doing laundry and they've paired it with something enjoyable, like watching Mrs. Maisel. That's what I used to do. Or they're like, we're going to have a laundry folding party and we're going to put on good music and we're all going to just do it together. Like, okay, yes, that is amazing that you've hacked a way to make it more fun, but also what other activity could you all go do as a family that's even more fun than that, and let somebody else do the laundry for you? And so anybody who says they like doing laundry, that's our age with kids and like still in it, in the throes of it, they have tricked themselves into liking it because they're a very positive person who's really good at habit stacking. The people who actually do enjoy it, who are like, this is meditation for me, are like the empty nesters, where they're like, oh, it's like origami for clothes. Let me add it. Right. So hire them, bring them in, let them do clothes origami for you. Or the college kids that are like, holy cow, you're going to pay me to fold socks? Like, really? This is the easiest job in the whole world. And I can like listen to a podcast the whole time. This is amazing. So hire those people. And then you go do the actual fun thing that you'd rather do with your family. So evaluating, taking inventory. I love using the Fair Play deck. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's like Eve Rodsky has some books about fair play and unicorn space and stuff like that. And so she does not recommend using it for outsourcing, but I am a rebel, so I do. And so this is something I actually send to all my clients, and I take them through, I have them do the fair play deck and sort it into, okay, what things are going to go into the Mary Poppins pile? What is she going to do for you? And then recruiting that right fit, like I was saying, like you want them to be the same values as you, a certain personality type. If you're a high energy person, maybe you want a more grounding force in your household. If you guys are like, need a little bit of an energy boost in the house, maybe you want a really upbeat, energetic person, or maybe you want them to match your energy. So that's where you're recruiting the right person. And so it's posting like the Banks children, not Mr. Banks, putting strong statements in there, almost kind of controversial statements. Like the stuff, if you posted it on Facebook, people would probably get mad at you, but you can put it in your post when you go in these other places besides Facebook, because then it's like you say, I'm a sober biohacker. If religion or faith is really important to you, put that in there. If traveling is important to you, if like rescuing 5,000 kittens is important to you, like put that in there. Whatever your extreme values are that might be controversial, put them in there, because it's going to weed out the people that don't speak that language. And then the people who do speak your language are going to be like, oh my gosh, this sounds like my dream person to work with. And then they are going to be a dream because you already speak that language. Onboarding and optimization. This is where it's like, once you hire somebody, having clear communication systems. I'm a big fan of using all the same communication that you would use in a business. So treating your home as a business and having your home employees just like you would have your work employees. And so you set them up on Voxer, on Google Drives, on Trello boards, on whatever it is that you're familiar with. Have them also use those so that it's the same systems. So if you're working during the day and you got one Trello board open for work and one Trello board open for home, and you're like, and then people over here take care of it and people over here take care of it. Just rinse and repeat the same systems. If they don't know how to use those, either they need to be willing to learn or they're not a good fit. So there's lots of young people nowadays that are like, cool, this is great, because then they're learning great skills for any kind of future jobs too. So create those clear systems with them, having SOPs. I have a household binder that we all follow with checklists for anything. Like if we're throwing a party, here's the checklist of what we need to do to get the house ready. It's Christmas time. This is what we need to do. Prepare for our big Christmas meal where we host everybody. Here's like how to load the dishwasher. Here's how to run the washing machines. Here's the, SOP for our backyard. Here's the SOP for our kitchen. So I have an entire binder with all of these in that, which I'm gonna give you guys as a gift at the end of this. But then the sustainable success is creating basically a company culture, just like you would have in your business. You need to have a company culture at home. And so these are things where you might even like put a saying up on the wall for your kids, for your spouse, for anybody you bring in as household support, so that everybody understands like who you are. We are world changers. Or, we, like Vic, I know you, right? Like you're on a mission to save pets. And so it's like, pets are family too. Whatever that motto is that's important to you and your family, anybody you bring in, that should be a motto that they just know it. Like it's just the slogan. It's like the Nike slogan for your Nike company. So that's the framework that I follow. Hold on. And so we're getting to the end here. So real talk is the choice is what happens without support. Like you guys were saying, like your body does things. You start getting sick. You start having ailments. You don't sleep well. You argue with your spouse, your kids. You have a bad strained relationship with them. And then your career growth, it stalls because of that. Or if you're running your own business, you can't grow at the level that you want. And you're just in constant overwhelm. So support is not optional if you want to scale, if you want to grow in your relationships with your family and grow in your career and your business. So when you do have support, your bandwidth expands. You just feel like life is a lot easier. Your business grows faster, your marriage and your family life improve. Like things just feel fun and easy. And you feel like you've cloned yourself and you get to actually go like sit outside and do nothing like everybody wants to do and just pause. And you have the space to actually finally do that. So to recap, we talked about the strong schedule structure and the different time blocks to create a proactive instead of a reactive calendar, and then how to delegate like a pro using the Heroes framework so you can find really right fit people to complement you in your home. If anybody wants any additional help or resources, I do have a community that you can come check out. And my gift to everybody here is I'm going to give you my entire household SOPs binder system. If you would like that, it is a $500 value that I actually sell to my clients. It's all the Google Docs that are templates, and you just take those and make copies of them for your own home and print them out, put them in a binder, put it on your kitchen counter, and start telling your teenagers which one they're in charge of.
Oh my goodness. That was awesome. How many of you are like, just took a breath? Like I actually just had to, when she stopped talking, I was like, okay. I was like,
and I feel like it was like yesterday that we were talking about the schedule.
wow. Well, wow. So there's a ton in the chat. There's some big questions. What I would love to do, because I know we only have, we have about 15 minutes, 16 minutes left. I wanted to, we created a couple questions that would help you reflect on what just, I'll just say what just happened. That's what I'll say. So I'm going to put these in the chat, and I would love it if we could take just a couple minutes, right? We take a couple minutes and you identify a couple things. And if I could get you to pause for 1 second before you do that, can you guys just put a word or a feeling or a thought that describes what Brenda just shared? You know, what's something that comes up for you when you're like, I'm just really glad that I invested the time to be here. Like I just was here to listen to her share this, you know, empowering, freeing, mind blown, energy, love it. Right. You know, just, I think, and I love how sometimes I don't know, this just be me. There's justification of certain things. And then also I'm like, oh, my kids aren't really little anymore. And then also I'm like, screw it. I want a meal prep. I'm like, I'd rather go ride my bike. I'm like, there's many things I'd rather do than laundry and meal prep. Just saying. So yes. So structure, freedom, release. Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's take a minute and just jot down, you know, and then we'll get a chance to go into a really quick breakout. We'll do it in pairs. We'll do a quick breakout, and then we'll be able to wrap up. So the questions are, is there an aha, an insight, or a specific tool or a resource that you think you're like, oh, I could use that right now that would 10x my time? So something that Brenda talked about in the 4 categories, you know, from the pillars and the arches, the mortar, the windows. And then when she got into, you know, the whole program of the house, the Hero House Manager, what's one thing maybe you want to jot down that you want to stop doing, and one thing you want to start doing based on what you heard? There might be something really that stood out to you in your notes that you're like, oh, right away, I should stop selling myself on the fact that I like laundry. Maybe that's what you need to stop doing. You know, maybe. Imagine you've truly 10x'd your time effectiveness. You know, what becomes possible in your business and in your family life? And that question kind of started before we even got in today, of what would you do at that time? But maybe you take a minute to think about and go, you know, whether you run your business or not, you know, if you're working anywhere right now, and we are all working somewhere, you know, are there things that you've kind of put on, you know, I don't want to say even the back burner, but you're like, oh, I just don't have time to do that. But I'd love to do that with my work, or I'd love to investigate that, or I'd like to learn more in here, or I'd like to be able to do this, or I'd like to take that project on, but you know, where is the time? Or maybe it's with your family, you know, it's more personal, you know, what is something there? So what I'm going to do is we're going to stick everybody into just a paired breakout. And we'll just take 3 minutes. And so just take a minute and a half each just to share some of the answers you jotted down to that question. And then we will pop back. So it'll be a quick 3 minute breakout. Are we moving? Good, great.
I'm back, everybody. Welcome, welcome. How was that? You got to meet some new people? We'd love to hear from one or two of you what came up. What is something you're going to do with that time? What's an aha that came out today? Something you're super excited about? Or you're like, "Oh, man, I just needed somebody to tell me that I need to hear it, I need to see it." Or maybe I needed permission. But love to hear from one or two of you.
You can just unmute.
Yep.
Or maybe what someone else shared. Oh, Alana's unmuted.
I think I do have like an not very intentional buffer time. So I often like drive home from work and I sit in my car in the garage and like I'm just trying to have a couple minutes to myself, or I haven't looked at my phone or whatever. I want to text a friend. And sometimes my husband will text me from in the house, like, "Are you coming out of the garage?" And so, "Are you staying in the car all night?" Or, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like, I should have like, and then I was like, why am I not taking a walk instead? Or like, or doing that while taking a walk, or like something more intentional for that buffer time that I know that I kind of need or want, and just making that more specific. So that's something I want to work on.
Awesome.
I love that. Mine's definitely a buffer time too, Alana. Like, totally. And I can even like true fashion. So me and Angie have a call every Monday, and I even stop it. I try to stop it 15 minutes before I'm supposed to go get my son from school. Never fails. I'm like literally at like the time I'm supposed to leave and I have to pee. And I like literally am like, "Okay, Angie," I'm like, all right, I got it. And I like, I'm still have to pee. And then I get to school late every Monday, every time. So like, that's me and Angie, we're going to work on that. I'm going to work on my buffer time.
Mortar, right? That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And car time for moms, especially car time can be a really great transition time. So I like putting buffer time on my calendar, but then also what you're talking about in the garage, that's transition time. And that's also mortar. And so having that transition time between activities, it like resets your nervous system, and it is actually really good for you. And you don't need to feel guilty that you're not doing transition in a more transition-y way, like a walk outside, because actually the way you're doing it is probably exactly what you need. And so sitting in your garage where you're already like in this familiar spot and you're not changing and making decisions, like you're already there. So you just stay there and just process. And so, yeah, that's super good. One of my favorite things to do is I use the app Rev or EV. It's just like a voice memo app and you can get the transcriptions. But when I am done with my day, a way that I transition into mom mode after business mode is I just put on Rev and I just talk to it. And I just like process things like, here's what I did well. Here's what I need to remember next time. Oh, I like am excited about this for the kids, or I'm feeling like about this thing that's going on with the family. Like I just verbally, like it's like my best friend that's a robot that I just share with. And by actually saying it out loud, I process it and it like comes out of me, so that I'm not holding it in and not bottling up that thing. So whether it's something I'm frustrated about or something I want to celebrate, either way, I just verbally process on Rev. And if you are a person that verbally processes, go get that app. It's so good. It's gold. And then it's like, what has been really beneficial in my marriage is then I don't need to like verbally assault my husband at the end of the day to like process with him. I could just give him cliff notes after I already like went through that.
I love that. And it transcribes it for you too.
You can pay for a transcription. And so I will even actually use it sometimes to capture some of my ideas. ChatGPT I like better for like capturing ideas for business, because it'll actually be like, want me to make you a spreadsheet? Want me to do this with it? Like it like offers up all these things instead of it just like recording the transcription. You still have to sort through it. But yeah, like sometimes if it's like a response I want to send to my family about the holidays that I'm like, I don't know how to say this, but here's verbally what I would like to say to them. And I get the transcription and then like piece it together to actually text them.
Love it. I love it. Awesome. Thanks so much, Brenda. And thanks for everybody for sharing. All right, we're just going to wrap up here. Angie, if you want to share the screen. Did you want to say something, Shayla?
I was just gonna say that I had an opportunity to room with Brenda at the Front Row Moms. And so I just got like a full, like, one-on-one session like every day. And it was mind blowing. And it was so amazing. And all the objections and things that, she just went through. I was like, yep. That was all the things that she's talking with me. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that or that. And came home and took action like that week. And I was like, And we've had our house manager for 5 months, and it is literally life changing. And today I feel like I got 2.0 of that with the systems, because I'm like, shit, I got to like make a grocery list and then get the groceries and plan the meals. Like I don't even do that normally. And now it's like these systems and just getting the creative ways. So it's so fire. And I totally agree with the kids. The house manager gets life skills. The kids are like so engaged, and it's so many wins.
And
So
Shayla, how many hours a week? Because that was the thing you were like,
yeah,
thinking
I was
you
like,
needed
what
more
is,
hours than you did.
I do 5 hours. And so
Yeah.
we do 3 on Sunday to set up for the week with like the carrot cutting and all that. And then Wednesday is like a halfway. And the kids each have their chores, so they're still contributing, but they can do things with her. So anything in my
Mm.
brain that stresses me out, like organize the crafts or the pantry, I write down. And then like Kid A can do the crafts with her. So it's like togetherness. And I'm like, see, I'm going for a run or whatever. And then they're like, I don't have to feel bad. It gets done. I'm like, oh, so good.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Love
And
it.
for
yeah.
most of you guys, where you guys live, there you can find somebody for $20 to $25 an hour.
Yeah. I do
So-
20, and that's way more than
$100 a week.
Yeah.
Which I feel like if I don't have help, I'm going to go to Target and buy a bunch of solutions that cost way more than $100 a week.
So
So-
true. Yes, I love it. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Shayla. Okay, just to wrap up here, a couple upcoming things for everybody. We have our retreat coming up in Austin, Texas in November. Brenda will be there. So if you want to meet her in person, come join us. It's from the 4th to the 6th of November. And we're posting in here a nice little guest code. So if you're a non-member, you can use that code to get 10% off the early bird rate through Monday. So that's our little share for you that's showing up today. And here are some of the amazing speakers we have lined up. We haven't announced the last two. We're announcing them here. So Jenna Phillips Ballard, who is just this abundance mindset, beautiful presenter, coach. And so this is so exciting that we're going to have her there. And then we have Melissa Davison. So we're going to be working on, it's going to be a little more, not more PG rated. So don't get too, excited about this. But just really working through like between her and our next one, Sarah, just embodiment, we're really like diving into us as mothers and seeing like, how do we use this to better ourselves, mothers, and work with our relationships. And so we're so excited to have them there. Now we actually have a new thing coming out, and just to stay connected, we have a school group coming up. So we have this membership program. I know Brenda's on it. I know Shayla's on it. And we are going to start moving our membership onto school platform. And so we're in a process of launching this in a couple weeks. But if you just go in now, we're going to put the link in there. Just sign up. You'll be able to get on kind of the wait list. And as soon as we launch, you'll be let in. And there's just a few questions to answer. But we're really excited. This is for non-members and members, and we're going to have a community there and be able to show things. And we can talk about our membership. So most of you on here are members, but if you're not, this is what these types of things, these spotlight events, our in-person retreats, there's discounts too. We have small group masterminds or pods throughout each month, about 2 calls a month. And we have these, we have resources that we're able to share with everybody. So whether that's in our school community, once we get it let up, we have these videos and recordings of these experts that we bring in, which are so helpful. And we just have this group, right? So we have these women who are all trying to do something incredible as moms, and we share that as a background. And we really are just looking for personal and professional growth. So I'm so happy that you joined us today. And Angie and I are like, these are always so much fun. And it's always so great to see everybody.
Have a fantastic weekend. It's Thursday, and excited to hear what
Yes.
happens with all the nuggets that Brenda gave you guys. And we'll email out her gift.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Brenda.
you,
That was
everybody.
fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you.